Hello and welcome to this latest webinar from E-commerce World Review, where we look at sort of the key happenings and findings of our research around the world of e-commerce. This particular episode, we're looking at marketplaces based off of our European marketplaces report that we conducted in October of last year. I'm going to look at some of the key findings from that. Obviously, we're in the process of doing an updated one. And then I'm going to have a enlivening discussion with my two brilliant guests today, Camille from Cdiscount and Nikki from Octopia. Ladies, welcome. Thank you very much for joining us. For those watching who aren't familiar with either Octopia or Cdiscount, maybe you could just give us a briefest of introductions. I'll start with you, Camille.
Yes, hi. Hi everyone, so I'm Camille from Cdiscount. I'm head of category for the smartphone category at Cdiscount Marketplace. And for those of you who don't know Cdiscount, we are a French platform based in Bordeaux. We were founded in 1998, and so we've got a long experience on e-commerce. And we have a marketplace also that we founded in 2011, so 13 years ago. And as head of category, I'm in charge of smartphones.
Nikki, tell us a bit about Octopia.
Good afternoon, everyone. Nikki Lovell, EMEA lead for Octopia. And for those of you that don't know who Octopia are, we were formed around 3 years ago as a sister company to Cdiscount. So we have a marketplace in our DNA. And really, we aim to help two types of customer. Firstly, the retailer or the e-tailer who wishes to launch their own marketplace, or on the other hand, the sellers. We help them improve their businesses by selling on multiple marketplaces at any one time. It's good to be here.
Brilliant, excellent stuff. Well, there's a lot of marketplace knowledge in the virtual room, so I look forward to picking your expert brains on where the marketplace industry is at currently. I'm going to kick off by just doing the briefest of overviews of some of the key findings from the European Marketplace Report. Like I say, that was out in October of 2023. But I think sort of, in the fast-moving world of marketplaces, things have moved on. So I think sort of more the interesting stuff will come from talking to both of you. But just to give a snapshot of where marketplaces were at in late 2023, they are by far the sort of largest single sort of channel, if you like, of where consumers are shopping. 35% of them have bought something off of a marketplace there, which is sort of twice pretty much what you would find in supermarkets and grocers, which you could largely consider that most people go to the supermarket or to a grocer's, as we all have to eat. So I think it's interesting that the way that marketplaces have really sort of come to dominate e-commerce, particularly in Europe. It's a fascinating journey, really, from something that was a sort of niche part of it to becoming sort of the dominant force in e-commerce as we see it. When you look at the largest 100 companies or retailers in Europe by category, first of all, you can see there that 62% of them are in fact marketplaces. And half of them there are within the largest 50. So they're big, and there's a lot of them. A lot of them are multi-sector, as you can see there, 34% are multi-sector. Others are more specialized. I think, again, that's not really a surprise because, marketplaces tends to be, excuse me, a place where you go to for the variety, because that's sort of how they work. Though, as we will find out in our discussion, not exclusively, because increasingly the marketplace model is finding its way into all sorts of specialists and verticals. From a traffic point of view, again, marketplaces are taking by far the largest chunk of the traffic, 85% there, as you can see in the sort of lower portion, and again, 48% of that's going to multi-sector ones, and the largest 50 also dominate in terms of the traffic. So the traffic is going to marketplaces, it's going to the big marketplaces, and more often than not, it's multi-sector. This is sort of broken down a bit by sort of European regions. You can see there that it's more predominant in terms of traffic across certain regions. Southern Europe, Eastern Europe are slightly out in front there. Western Europe is quite close. We see the most striking thing really is the drop off in Northern Europe, because in Scandinavia in particular, we don't see so much marketplace activity. I'm not saying there are none or that nobody shops on them, but it is lower in terms of use in Northern Europe, or it was at least in 2023. Be interested to hear from Nikki, who handles that part of the world for Octopia, what her view of it is, and particularly how that might change. We'll come to that when we come to discuss this in more detail. But it's pretty evenly spread across Europe, as you can see. Southern Europe is particularly popular, Northern Europe less so. In terms of who shops on them, again, hardly surprising. It's pretty evenly the same for Gen Z, Millennials, Gen X. I think that's probably kind of as you'd expect. Baby boomers less so, but I think that's largely because baby boomers typically, fewer of them do e-commerce generally. Therefore, there's going to be fewer hitting marketplaces. But even then, it's still more than half of them are using them. I certainly know my aged parents who are very much at the top end of the baby boomer side of things. They use Amazon regularly, so it's out there. It'll be interesting to see whether they start using Temu, but that's a discussion for another day. And of the marketplaces we then went on to assess, because the bulk of the report really focuses in on these 26 leading marketplaces in Europe. And how they operate, how they perform. So that's the bulk of the actual report. For the sake of looking at how the market looks, there were 26, there were 13 of them are pure marketplaces. So those are just marketplaces that only do online marketplace stuff, selling other people's goods. 4 of them were mixed marketplaces. So they sell their own stuff as well as the products of others. And interestingly, what we've seen change over the years that we've been doing the marketplace report is that there is now a much larger number of retailer-run mixed marketplaces. And I think really this is the sort of key trend we've seen in the marketplace market, particularly between like sort of 2022 and 2023 report, is this surge in retailers setting up and running their own marketplaces. There are huge advantages, as you may know. That's where consumers want to be. They like shopping in the marketplace model, and it offers them a way of extending their reach quickly and efficiently. But that's something I think we need to discuss. So that's some of the key findings of the report. You can download the report there in that link, as you can see. And like I say, the bulk of the report is drills down into each of those individual marketplaces as to how they work and operate, their performance and things like that. But that was 2023. We're now in 2024. So what I want to do is bring Nikki and Camille back in, because obviously they have a great deal of expertise in the marketplace market. And I guess kick off by sort of looking at the fact that is the marketplace market growing? It has across the several years I've been looking at the report, doing the marketplaces report for some time now, over a number of years. And it has grown consistently year on year, each year. Is it still growing? Nikki, let's throw that out to you first of all. Is the marketplace market still growing in Europe?
Thanks, Paul. That's a good lead in. So I think, as you rightly pointed out, globally around 35% of online sales are made on a marketplace. But actually, geographically, the differences are really significant. So I think the answer to that question is probably in the main, yes. But actually, it does depend. And I think some of these differences depend. So, for example, if we look at the UK, there's only around 25% of online sales are generated from a marketplace. And that's seen a steady increase of around 6% since 2020. Whereas if you look at France, which you could suggest was one of the homes within Europe, one of the kind of founding markets for marketplaces, that market generation is around 30% of online, and it is a much more kind of mature market. And the online sales within France have dropped in the last 2 years. I think 11% and 7% kind of year on year, 22 and 23. So I think that's definitely seen kind of a drop. There are definitely, and particularly when we look across Europe, there are opportunities. And you mentioned the Nordic regions, Paul. And what we see is that typically they're around 25%. But actually from a kind of propensity to shop online or to search online, some of those countries, Sweden, for example, is up around to 99% are comfortable shop or using the internet. So actually, to me, that kind of says there is huge opportunity still for marketplaces to grow and that growth to really kind of propel in the coming years. So I think that's what I would kind of say to sum it up.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Well, that's good to hear. So yes, they are growing. Yes, there's still opportunity. I mean, Camille, you're actually are a marketplace, and you were one of the marketplaces we assessed in our research. What are your views? Do you still see the marketplace market growing? Is it growing for you?
Well, at Cdiscount, we've been working on a mixed model for the last 13 years. And yes, the marketplace has still been growing and taking a biggest and biggest share of the GMV at Cdiscount. So we've reached a milestone last year at 60% of the share, and it's still going to be growing. We're aiming at 65-70% in the next 3 years, and trying to find the perfect balance, between 1P and 3P.
That's a lot of predicted growth. That's how are you going to sort of generate that growth? Do you think? Where's that going to come from?
We're trying. Well, we've got two main opportunities to grow the marketplace share. We're trying to develop the catalog most. So the secret is to get to present the most product possible to the customers. So we've reached, I think, 80 million products this year to show our customers. So all these products can't be sold in 1P and retail models. So it's easier to go through all the catalogs from sellers. And then we're expanding also to most sellers. We're always looking for new sellers. Sourcing is one of our biggest challenge at the marketplace, to find new sellers and so new catalogs to propose to the customers.
How do you go about finding those new sellers?
We've got a team dedicated for that. We have a team trying to find some leads, of course, looking at everywhere on the planet where sellers are selling, and trying to bring them to Cdiscount, getting them to know Cdiscount and the opportunities. And also we have maybe we're starting to have some recognition on the market, and sellers come to us also to try and invest on the platform.
Okay, great. With that in mind, you guys look to expand and grow, particularly from your seller base, is sort of the evolution of marketplaces sort of shaping up to be sort of the fact that everyone will be a marketplace? Is everything going in that direction, or is there still a sort of D2C route open to people, do you think, Nikki?
Yeah, so I absolutely think that marketplaces have evolved over time. And if we kind of look at that shift really from those kind of generalist marketplaces in the early days, your Amazons, your eBays, Cdiscount being one of them, that there are still new entrants coming in, in the generalist space. So OnBuy, for example, only launched in 2016, but already they have been voted as one of Europe's kind of fastest growing e-commerce sites in 2022. So I think that proves that there is still kind of some growth happening there. What we've seen is that there are more and more kind of vertical specialists that have entered the market. And really they have, I think, as Camille said, they've got the ability to really kind of use a 3P product offering to support an existing kind of 1P own source kind of products. We've seen particularly fashion, consumer electricals, and of late kind of DIY and home and gardening has definitely kind of been really popular categories where specialists will look to kind of expand their categories, expand their reach. And we've seen, we know kind of the likes from a fashion perspective, Boohoo, ASOS, they were like early leaders in the DIY and garden arena, home arena, Kingfisher is widely reported and talked about in the UK and in the report of launching a market or using a marketplace, which only launched in 2022, to really kind of expedite the product offering that they had. So moving from around 50,000 SKUs to up to nearly 1 million in a really short space of time. And I think that kind of supports that actually use of a marketplace that can only happen that kind of quickly, at that scale, that pace. Realistically, with a marketplace, you would have to have a pretty large team, product sourcing team, to go and source and onboard, deal with all of the complexities yourself. So that's
yeah, no, absolutely. So this evolution of marketplaces and where a lot of retailers are launching them and all that, does that make the market very competitive for marketplaces that already exist, like Cdiscount, Camille?
Sorry, can you repeat the question? I didn't get it.
Sorry. So with more marketplaces sort of appearing, particularly as retailers open their own marketplaces and with consumers wanting to use marketplaces more, it becomes much more competitive. Is that something that you see as an existing marketplace, that you're now operating in a much more competitive market?
Yes, the market is getting more and more competitive, and that's why we're always fighting. Being in a marketplace is an ultimate fight all the time. Getting all the sellers, trying to be on all the new tendencies. Like, for instance, we developed the refurbished good categories some years ago, when it just started in the European and French markets. And it enabled us to gain a lot of new products and a lot of different offer for our customers. And with all that's been going on secondhand market, it enabled us to compete again different marketplaces, like you said, like Vinted, Vinted is on fashion, but secondhand marketplaces. So we're always fighting and trying to find ways to embrace this competition.
Excellent. So talking of the sort of competition and the fight, Nikki, are marketplaces, do you think, a sort of threat to normal retailers, non-marketplace retailers, or is it an opportunity? And if so, how?
Well, I think they're both, actually. So, and just to kind of expand a little bit further on that, you talked earlier, or you briefly mentioned earlier, the likes of Temu and Shein and AliExpress. So I think those kind of new entrants into the EU markets will absolutely be seen as a threat to those either retailers or e-commerce players that are already in their markets and established. They're selling lots of products very cheaply. Obviously, it does appeal to kind of your Gen Zers and the new kind of alpha generation, as I've researched. So those kind of the kind of really young or teenagers, I suppose. And so they will have their place. But I think the volume of products that they're selling, absolutely, and just that they're just, by them being in the market, it is absolutely a threat to some of the retailers. I think what we have seen, or what we do see, is in many of the retailers and brands that we talk to, they've already got a really solid digital strategy. And actually, whilst they can be seen as a threat, they already know that for themselves that they can expand by use of a marketplace, not necessarily just a marketplace, dropship, D2C. There's lots of other kind of distribution methods. But actually, those brands can either be sell on another marketplace, so there's an opportunity for growth there, or actually launch in their own marketplace in order to compete. So we definitely see that. Sometimes, in addition to that, we see that there is almost a threat from within. So, for example, a retailer wanting to kind of launch on a market or launch their own marketplace, quite often their staff and their product teams will feel that their marketplace offering could conflict with their 1P offering. So they're kind of purely sourced brands. And I think there's a real fine line in kind of understanding and making sure that launching a marketplace, it doesn't have to cannibalize. It can actually complement your existing product, and it can do that from category expansion, from long tail on existing categories, but also from kind of overseas international expansion. And I think what a marketplace operator like Octopia can do is help to remove that complexity that sits around any of those types of expansion, to allow the retailer to really concentrate on what it is they do best. So there's definitely opportunity there, and we absolutely see many of the people that we talk to totally understand that opportunity and are building that into their kind of growth strategy.
Right. And Camille, does Cdiscount sort of offer an opportunity to retailers? I'm thinking maybe sort of UK retailers looking to sell in your market, but not exclusively. Like that, sort of what role does Cdiscount play?
Well, we always found it as an opportunity. As I said, we founded the marketplace a long time ago. So of course we welcome every retailer to come and try and sell at our platform. It would be an opportunity for everybody. And I just wanted to add to Nikki's to what Nikki was saying, that we also have brands that find the marketplaces as opportunities and use them as opportunities. For instance, we've got a brand called Groupe Seb in France, selling small appliances, and they have embraced, like Cdiscount, a mixed model. They sell one part of their products in 1P to Cdiscount, and the rest of the product they sell through a shop that they have in 3P. So they can control their assortments much better. They can choose which products they want to sell in 1P and which product they want to keep in control in the 3P model. For instance, if they want to keep the control on the price, or maybe control of the stock, because the stock will be at their warehouse and not at Cdiscount. So it can be very interesting for brands too to embrace this mixed model that we propose at Cdiscount.
Yeah, no, that's an interesting point, isn't it? I guess, Nikki, is that something you see from your side, that there are more retailers and brands looking at sort of managing their marketplace strategy much more carefully and in much more granular way like that?
It's all about balance.
Sorry. Yeah, absolutely. And I think to kind of add to that, where we can help is almost with that kind of that transition piece. You know, the knowledge and expertise that we have within our teams that help the marketplace operator to really choose which categories, which products, you know, they want to offer, can often kind of almost set the 1P product teams at ease. And actually what we've seen is some of those retailers, rather than having almost like a 1P team and then a 3P team to manage the offerings, they actually bring those together. So you've got one team who's totally responsible for the success of whether it comes through 1P or 3P. And I think that's where it can then kind of remove some of that anxiety that might sit within. That might not be a good use of word, but you understand where I'm kind of coming from. So we absolutely do see that. And I think having a carefully curated strategy, product strategy, is absolutely the way to go. And that will kind of ensure the success, I think, of the marketplace.
Yeah, absolutely. One of the other things that sort of to ensure success is sort of fulfillment and delivery. What role does that sort of still play in running a marketplace or running a marketplace presence, Camille?
Yeah, well, we've seen that. I think there was a stat from Ipsos saying that 85% of people who had a bad experience in delivery will never come back to your platform. So delivery is absolutely key to the success of conversion and sales on your platform. So at Cdiscount, we have this fulfillment service that we offer to the sellers, so they can have the best quality of delivery possible that they wouldn't maybe have if they were only doing this by themselves, or maybe not all the range of possibilities that we offer, because when you are using the fulfillment service, you have obviously all the types of deliveries that we can propose, pickup points, express delivery, same day delivery, and all that at very competitive prices, because we have obviously global negotiations with the shippers. Yeah.
What about from your point of view, Nikki? Go ahead.
Well, Cami and I have obviously read the same Ipsos study because absolutely right. I think you can sometimes underestimate, or retailers, if they underestimate the importance of that last mile, that delivery element, they can come unstuck. As a consumer myself, I know that, if I might have had a great experience on a retailer's website and sourcing and ordering the product. However, if that then from a delivery perspective, it doesn't happen on time, the goods come damaged, the returns are kind of quite difficult or challenging, then that will absolutely influence, I think, the consumer in terms of their kind of future purchasing decisions. So I think it is really, really important. I think from Octopia's perspective, we launched fulfillment, obviously, as part of the proposition 3 years ago, with our initial warehouses in France. We now have 15 or access to 15 warehouses across Europe, with our main hubs being in France, Spain, and the UK, which launched this year. And what that means is that really does support our kind of seller network in us being able to do the picking, the pack, or the stocking, the picking, the packing of the products, etc., handling the returns. And what that means for the end consumer is that, from a seller perspective, those sellers that are in fulfillment with us, which is probably around 50% of our 15,000 seller base, sit within fulfillment or utilize our fulfillment services. It just means that we take care of that element, and we have SLAs, 99.7% on-time delivery with service that we offer. And so the sellers themselves can actually concentrate on sourcing better products, better pricing, all of those types of things that, again, that evolution of the success of a marketplace, it all kind of feeds into it, really.
Interesting. I'm going to be controversial for a moment. You mentioned Gen A shoppers. I have 2 teenage daughters who are Gen A shoppers, who are wedded to Temu and Shein currently, and the sort of user experience of both of them is suboptimal compared to all other e-commerce things I've ever looked at. Plus, the delivery is quite slow, but it doesn't seem to bother them. They are all about, it's so cheap that they don't really care that it takes a week to arrive. Do you think the rise of people like Temu and Shein in particular are going to change consumer perception around delivery?
I don't know. I think there's 2 ends of the scale there, and I think you've rightly touched on, the pilot high, sell it cheap, if I'm allowed to say that. Late, I've just said it. Of those sites mean, the downside is the delivery time, as you say, in some cases can be more than 14 days, which in the UK, other retailers and brands, you've got people like Screwfix who offer a kind of within the hour or a 3-hour delivery slot. So I think there's a place for those types of marketplaces aimed at specific Gen Zs, Gen As. So will it affect overall? I think if anything, it probably just goes to support the growth of marketplace in totality, because maybe those shoppers, those youngsters would have gone shopping of a weekend, would be browsing the shops online as well, but maybe in the shop, some of those kind of more price conscious retailers, whereas actually now they have that choice to shop. But I think the main kind of retailers and e-commerce players that are in that marketplace space, obviously quick express delivery, same day, next day, it really is kind of a key element of what the consumer is looking for when they're shopping online. That's the feedback that we're still getting.
Yeah, absolutely. I just, it's just something I've noticed rather than anything I've seen sort of any research on. I just wonder whether it changed things. Do you feel, Camille, that the rise of cheap but badly delivered things like Temu, will that impact Cdiscount, or is it just another way of differentiating what you do from the Temus and Sheins of the world?
It actually gives us a good key for differentiation, and also I think it's it might influence also the customers' habits. So we're maybe gonna have less people asking for same-day delivery because they will not be using this kind of quick buy stuff. But the quality of delivery is also in question here, because if you have a 3 weeks delivery and the product never arrives, or arrives I don't know, once out of two orders, or you have to pay some additional cost to the delivery also, it could really affect your perception of the delivery, even though it's long or short. So it's not only the timing of delivery, it's also the quality, I think, of the shippers and the delivery.
Good point. Yes, no, absolutely. Turning now to sort of conversion, because obviously that's a key part in selling anything anywhere. What are some of the kind of tricks and tips for better conversion? I have to bring it up. AI. What role, for example, does AI play in converting sales on marketplaces? What, for example, Camille, is Cdiscount doing around using AI?
Well, we've been using AI for some time now. We've got a team of, I think, 30 data scientists working on with AI at Cdiscount. So it's a really huge importance for us. And we've been using it on many problems, or many not problems, but many questions that we had. So to improve maybe our search engine. And for instance, we used it to recategorize some products, because out of the 80 million products, some of them were not created in the right categories. So thanks to AI, we recategorized all of them, and we gained 30% conversion on those products, because the public could find them in the search engine. Of course, it's the key. And
that's impressive.
Yeah, it was very useful, and it can make things much quicker than just working with sellers and trying to recategorize all the products and such. But we're still working a lot with sellers on the day-to-day basis to improve conversion, especially to help them have the most complete product sheets possible. We've got a system to help the sellers understand which elements are missing in their product sheets to improve the conversion. So we've got a grading on the product sheets from A to F, I think. So if your product sheet is F, it means that it has this and this and this product. Maybe there is no image, or maybe no characteristics. So nobody will buy this product, and then it helps sellers improve their product sheet. And when the product sheet is improved, and when it gets to the higher levels, A and B, then it boosted in our search engine to, of course, optimize conversion.
Interesting. And Nikki, what are some of the things you're seeing around conversion, and particularly the use of AI?
Yeah, I think to kind of support what Camille has just said, we use at Octopia, we use OpenAI to kind of help that recategorization, the improvement in the product catalog, descriptions, etc. We specifically see, and we have proven kind of metrics that actually a better quality description and set of pictures can improve conversion by around 30%. And those statistics have come from those sellers that have kind of adopted, a better quality catalog descriptions. And so we can see that really does have a direct impact on when a consumer's searching. The better the detail you've got, the more likely you are to be happy with it and, put it in your basket, really. And we've also, as Camille says, across the group, there are data scientists. Our kind of bigger CNova group company actually had one of its execs working on a project, and she was actually kind of nominated as e-commerce lead for all of the work that had been done within the group of companies. So it's not just, yes, this stuff is happening, but it's actually being recognized by others within the industry as well. we've actually won awards. So I think it's, AI, it's not new in certain industries. I think the way that it kind of impacts the marketplace operators, the sellers, etc., I think will continue to evolve. So it's kind of probably newer for us, but it absolutely does have an immediate impact, I would say.
Absolutely. I think it's one of those subjects that we can't not talk about, but in fact it is everywhere and underpins sort of almost every facet of e-commerce for sure. It sort of plays a role everywhere. What about retail media? There's been quite a lot of interest in sort of retail media where sort of retailers are selling sort of advertising essentially on their websites. This is something that I think is particularly pertinent to marketplaces, but it also applies to all retailers. What are you seeing in terms of the role of retail media, Nikki?
Well, I think you've kind of almost hit on what happens next in the evolution of marketplaces, and retail media really is kind of, there's a real buzz around retail media right now. From an Octopia perspective, for us, we see and we've just launched. So thank you for the cue there, Paul. We've just
You're welcome.
Very recently launched Octopia Ads, and that as a retail media engine across Europe, and really that goes to support the retailers and the sellers being able to monetize their marketplaces. So it's really good, to ensure that kind of the improvement and the continuation of the success of the marketplace. We have the technology that we use is something that's been in the market for about 4 years now. It's called CARS, and it was historically developed by Cdiscount. So I'm sure Cami will talk a little bit more around that. It's renowned for its ability to optimize not like campaigns, but not just for marketplace product, but for 1P product as well. So it really is kind of unique in the market that it can help not just to monetize the 3P, the marketplace product, but actually the kind of own sourced 1P product offerings as well, and it can be used in harmony. So I think it's definitely something that is that's evolving. And we are now able to take that to other retailers, and there's a lot of kind of buzz and excitement around it. So I think we're really looking forward to seeing what that can do, really to enhance the offering that we have.
Yes, me too. Camille, Nikki set you up beautifully there as to what Cdiscount's been doing with retail media. Tell us more.
As a platform, from the point of view of the platform, of course, it's a way to add more revenue from 3P. So it's very interesting for us. But also from a seller's point of view, it's a really good way to make your offers or products rise above the others. As I said, we've got so many products on the platform, and it is a key to, how to have tools to show them. So we, as a retail media platform, we offer them a range of tools to help them develop sales depending on what their problem is. So if a brand wants to make the awareness rise about the brand, sorry about my accent, the awareness rise. So we've got branding tools, we've got CARS also that has a sponsored product part and a Google Shopping part. So you can either improve your visibility on their search pages or in the Google engine. And so add traffic to your product sheets. And once you gain traffic and once you gain clicks and once you gain sales, then of course the search engine knows you better and your products will be boosted next time. So it's all virtuous circle.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
So yeah.
And it helps get away from the reliance on cookies and things, doesn't it? Which is sort of slowly being eroded as well. So it's a very timely. That's really interesting. I guess that's sort of, as you say, a sort of future evolution of marketplaces. Just to sort of round things off as we come to the end of our time together. What are some of the other things do you think we're going to see in the next sort of 12 months? What sort of issues around marketplaces do you think we'll be talking about this time next year when we do this, Nikki?
So I think, the marketplace market is it continues to evolve. And I think we will see kind of pockets of, from geographies, nearly lost my thing. So from geographies, for sure that have already started to kind of see that there is a benefit in marketplace. At the end of the day, it is a relatively risk-free approach, to being able to launch and expand. So I think we'll continue to see that. I think the use of AI will continue and will evolve, and the same as retail media. I would love to have a crystal ball and see what we're going to be talking about in 12 months' time. And I think that there's a lot of factors that will feed into that. So the economic environment, whether there's anyone else that goes to war or not, what happens with kind of interest rates. So I think all of those things will feed into really what the discussion looks like in 12 months' time. I think for Octopia specifically, we will continue to kind of evolve and grow and find new medias, new tools, new partners to really kind of continue that growth that we have seen with what we've, with the end-to-end solution that's been helping our customers to really kind of drive growth and run successful marketplaces, because that's what this is all about. That you can launch a marketplace, but if it's not successful, you've got to have the sellers, you've got to have, a combination of the good quality product catalogue, and you've got to know who you're aiming your marketplace at. So I think all in all, there's a kind of all of the tools work together hand in hand, really. So I think
brilliant.
Yeah.
And Camille, what to round things off, what is on Cdiscount's roadmap for the next sort of year? What exciting things can we look forward to?
Well, I would say it may be what AI can bring us. We're only discovering for the past few years what it's going to be. So every new month is a new surprise about everything that can be possible now with AI. So I guess we'll be talking a lot about AI and what possibility it can give us to make our offer more clear and more to make the customer experience more effective and more easy to shop on the website.
Brilliant. Excellent. Well, some really interesting stuff there. I think we've covered sort of the entirety of marketplaces and where they're going. I think there's some interesting and exciting things to look forward to. I'm looking forward to doing the 2024 edition of this marketplace report in 6-7 months time, because I think there's going to be a lot to say. But I think we'll draw it to a close there. Camille, Nikki, thank you ever so much for joining us and sharing your wisdom with us. It's been enlightening and fantastic, so thank you very much for that. For those of you watching, you can download the report there at the link that's on the screen, and thank you too for watching. I hope you got a lot out of it. So thank you everybody, and goodbye.
Thank you, Paul.
Thank you.